mortgage rates were so crazy low for a number of years because the Federal Reserve was using extraordinary powers to suppress what people could earn on savings and what people had to pay on loans to stave off another Great Depression. Central bankers in the U.S. and the rest of the developed world were all coordinating after the banking scandals led to the Great Recession and the housing bust here and problems overseas to try to keep the economy from continuing to spiral down in the Great Recession. They did all kinds of things that were out of the ordinary. And that's how people ended up with mortgages in the 2s, 3s, and 4s. So once the crisis passed and mortgage rates resumed more, let's call it normalization, and then we've had the inflation in the last many years, mortgage rates, as you know, went from being in the 2s, 3s, and 4s into the 7s. Well, now, because of the economy slowing down, perhaps half the states in the country are now in recession. The jobless numbers are rising. Initial applications for unemployment rising. We are in a lower gear economically. Mortgage rates are falling, just market forces, not any government intervention. So if you are someone who bought a home with interest rates in the 7s plus, you have an opportunity to refi today, but only if you fit a narrow set of criteria. And that is, you can take out a 15-year loan at about 5.5%. So who would this work for? This is why it's narrow. You've got to have meaningful equity in the home, which means it had to be someone who put in a good down payment when you bought that home with the ugly 7% plus interest rate. And you can afford the payment on a 15-year loan instead of, let's say, you've got 27 years left or 28 years left on your 7+% mortgage. You'd be going to a 15, getting you out of debt much quicker at a lower interest rate. But your payment would be somewhat equivalent to what you have now, maybe a nudge higher. So you'd have to be able to afford that. So that's why it keeps narrowing who this would work for. But yes, it would make sense. And you shop it around because lenders have so little mortgage activity right now that they are doing a better job competing in the marketplace to get what little business is out there. So if you are someone who fits those check marks I said, then you want to shop it and look at refining. And the good news is because of all the competition over a much smaller pool of loans, you will probably have less costs involved in originating that loan than you would have otherwise. And interest rates are very hard to predict, particularly in the shorter term. But the odds are pretty favorable because of a slowing economy that the mortgage rates could go lower yet from here. So how do you know when it's the right time? When it's clear that you will save a meaningful amount of money by doing the refi, that's your time. And if rates were somehow to go significantly lower, you just refi again.